What's up? It's Daniel. This is the TriathlonDan YouTube channel, and you join me going full gas from the gun at the Haus Grand Prix. This is a new format event for us, run by the Haus race team. It's a one-day, three-stage bike race. So we had a 45-minute sprint crit in the morning, which is what you're watching now, a time trial at lunchtime, and then a 1.5-hour enduro crit in the afternoon with, like, you know, GC times and places being given for each race, which is super cool. So thanks to the Haus team for putting it on. All the volunteers, marshals, British cycling staff, everybody involved in making our racing day happen. We really appreciate it. Now, this race is open to all categories, so it's elite first, second, third and fourth, women, and I think there were some juniors in it as well. So, like, the ability range in this race is wide, which essentially means you don't really know what the pace is going to be like, you don't know what the groups are going to be like. It was obviously going to break up a fair bit in all of the races, which is fine, but yeah, it just meant that nobody really knew exactly what was going to happen. And my objective for this event, which, spoiler alert, I didn't perform anywhere near where I'd wanted to or hoped to, didn't get the result I wanted to. I guess what I'm putting this video up for is because I know that is where so many people in the bike racing community are. You go to a race and really only one person out of the 50 or 60 on the start line goes home happy because they've won. Now, I still really enjoyed this day. I don't sort of hang my satisfaction and my enjoyment on the result, but I want to share my observations about my own performance, the things that I think went well, things I think didn't go well, and obviously this is not a how-to, unless it's a how-to get dropped 20 minutes in, because that's what happens. So if you've got any thoughts or comments or advice, just let me know in the comment section down below. I'd be very grateful. So the actual race itself, I've covered the categories. Darley Moor is a pretty flat circuit. There's a couple of little rises, nothing too crazy. One hairpin which you get down to about 30 k's an hour, but the rest of the circuit is fast. There's a couple of corners, but you're still going at like 40 k's an hour, so it's not really proper corners. You're only touching the brakes once or twice per lap. So yeah, pretty fast circuit. It is exposed to the wind though, so there's often a block headwind one way and tailwind the other. Even if it's not a windy day, because it's so exposed and on top of a hill, it is always windy. Now, I've got a teammate in this race, my mate Lee. We've not really got any team tactics because, well, I couldn't rely on my own performance essentially, which is a good decision. So my objective for this race is just to get around in the bunch. I didn't want to try and attack. I didn't want to get a breakaway, nothing like that. I just wanted to get around in, I don't know, the main bunch. As I said, I didn't know what bunches there were going to be, but I just thought, well, I'll try and stay in the group and just see what happens. Now, in terms of like my actual ability, I have done a fair bit of crit racing over the last few years, only like maybe, I don't know, 5 to 8 per year, and I have won a couple of third cat crits, so I've had some success. I'm not as fit as I used to be, and I think, if anything, in the past, I've been able to like cheat a bit because my ability has been above my technical skills. So even though I wasn't cornering the best or having the best tactics, I was fit enough that I could just make mistakes and it was okay. I'd still be in the bunch at the worst. Now I'm not as fit as that. My threshold power FTP is about 330-ish watts. I'm 98, 99 kilos, so I'm just not quite as sharp as I used to be. I'm struggling kicking out the corners and getting up to speed, and I've just not got the ability of some of these people on the start line. Now, that said, I'm sure there are some people on the start line whose ability, like on paper in terms of like power, isn't as good as that, and they are performing better than me. In terms of equipment, I'm on an Elves Falaf EXP 38cm cockpit. I've got the Hoop Skin suit, NRG wax chain. There's no Veta wheels, 60mm deep. Like there's no reason why I'm going slow from my equipment. That's not the cause. The cause is my ability and my tactics. So whilst I've not got the S-Works SL8, but you know, I'm still not a million miles off in terms of the equipment I'm riding. Now, looking at how the bunch is playing out now, my objective is to stay near the back. I don't want to be near the front because I think you have to spend too much energy to stay there, and I'm not planning on attacking, so there's no point in me being there. I don't care if there's a breakaway going up the road, so I'm not going with it anyway. But I don't want to be on the back because, as I said, it's a wide range of ability in this race, so people will be getting dropped, and if you're just at the back, you then have to go around the people getting dropped, close gaps, and that in itself is a lot of energy to expend. So it's a hard place to try and stay consistently, but that was my plan. So we're now 1.5 laps in. I think we're about 5 minutes in. I flick at my computer and I've normalized over 400 watts so far. So I'm like, okay, this has started hard. I'm following here a rider called Tom, real nice guy, strong rider, and if anything, we're probably, I don't know, facing some of the same battles as each other are, in that we're both big, strong guys. Tom a bit stronger than me, and you know, coming out that hairpin is a problem. Getting up to speed is more of a challenge than it is for like the 60 kilo riders, but I'm pretty confident here. I'm on Tom's wheel. He's done loads of racing this year. He's a strong rider, great. He's one of the few people I know in the bunch. I'll try and hang on to his wheel, and that's fine. Now, he's obviously a bit more tactically astute than me. He sort of sits up here, rolls into this bottom corner, and he still gets on the bunch on the way out the corner, so he's saving that energy there, whereas I'm surging on a bit more, just try and close the gap. I come out of the corner, and then I'm on the back of the bunch. I think, well, I didn't know that at the time, but looking back at this video, I'm like, maybe I should have eased off a bit more and saved that bit of energy, but you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. We could have come out of this corner, it really kicked off, and we could have all been dropped, so who knows. And when, like you see there's some of the bunch just eased up. I'm trying to just weave my way through and not be making any like jerky reactions and not wipe anybody out or anything. I'm thinking here, right, we're coming to the end of lap 2, we're sort of 3 abreast, so it can't be that hard at the front. Normally if it's on, then you're strung out single file, so thinking, well, you know, surely this is okay, but I'm still, like, physically, I'm working quite hard. My maximum heart rate is 175. So I'm not a million miles off that. It's a headwind in this section, and then it's a crosshead in the next section. So I'm thinking, well, I'm not sat directly on the wheel. There's a guy to the left of me there. We're sort of both trying to nudge each other out for that person's wheel in front. I'm not going to fight somebody for 25th wheel. Won't come out the corner, I'll drop on his wheel there. And now I'm getting a nice bit of a draft. I'm thinking now it eases up a bit, I need to be moving forward. All I've done so far is lose positions. If that's going to continue, when it eases up, I need to be making positions up. The only problem is this is a headwind section, so I'm sat in the wind a bit here, so I'm like, well, do I surge by? Do I try and get on somebody else's wheel further up? You see on the left, that rider moving up there, that would have been great to have been on his wheel, but have I got the gas to even go with it? Who knows? This is better, that rider slipped out to the front, but again, he's just surging on, so I'm not properly on the draft there, and I think I need to be a bit more efficient with that. That heart rate monitor number is not accurate right now. I'm not doing 129 beats a minute. It is more than that. Coming into the hairpin, this is where I'm trying to use the opportunity to get some recovery. As you can see, the bunching up ahead, bunching up. I know then it's easing up, so if I can just ease off a few seconds before everybody else, I'm getting a bit more recovery in there. But then of course you're trying to balance it with, well, I don't want to get swamped before the hairpin. You know, those positions I've just tried to make up, I'm going to lose them all. Coming into this hairpin, the previous 2 laps I've been on the inside, I actually quite like the outside. I feel like I can carry a bit more speed. I think I come out this corner 3 or 4 k's an hour faster than when I'm on the inside, and that just helps me with my lack of acceleration. I think then I've got less kilometers an hour to make up. Now, I was talking earlier about positioning. Now, I think the best place for me is near, but not at the back of the bunch. The rider in front of me there in the white skin suit, Max, Rise for PB Performance, he won the afternoon race, so clearly a good rider, both fitness-wise and tactically, and he sat here near the back. So when I saw him, I thought, okay, well, actually, maybe this isn't a bad place to be. If anything, I was like, what's going off? Like, I thought they'd be, why is it so hard if you're at the back, basically? But, you know, there's obviously more than a handful of good riders in the race. So, yeah, we'll see in a few minutes as well that somebody else comes past me who I expected to be at the front as well. But this is a tailwind section, so we're going pretty fast, still 56 k's an hour. Not getting that much of a draft, but I just think, well, if I'm going this fast, surely I'm not going to get dropped, because for the front to be pulling a gap on us, they've got to be doing, see there, Max leaning it right over, making up positions in the corner just through cornering better. That's good. Yeah, so if I'm doing 56 k's an hour, somebody's got to be doing 60 plus to even pull a gap, and it's just unlikely. I'm carrying a bit of momentum there, so I'm using that just to come past a few riders again, just to make up a few wheels. I'm happy that I was doing that, but I've just not followed through enough. The bunches then surged on, and my speed is just not increasing fast enough, and I'm then in the same position as I would have been, so perhaps I should have just sat on the wheels out of that corner and not had that little surge. I quite like this sort of thing here, where you sort of couple, 2 people abreast, you're moving well, you're working hard, but it's not absolutely full gas, and you're feeling like, well, I'm feeling this minute I can hang on. That's Adam Kenway just running past us, ex-national hill climb champion. I'm a big fan of his. I think I've rabbited on enough about him on this channel already. Real nice guy. Again, I just saw him and I thought, Okay, he's one of the favourites for this race. He's previously been an elite cat rider. He's only a second cat now, but still got the same legs, and he's moved up there. Now, having spoken to him after the race, he said that he was just sitting back and watching what was happening, saw a break of 3 was off the front, and he knew the riders and thought, okay, that's a bit more of a dangerous move, so I'm going to go across to them. So he goes to the front of the bunch, attacks off the front, doesn't take anybody with him, and gets across to the breakaway. He had to work hard to get there. You see him there at the saddle really going for it. That's his only attack. He picked the one breakaway that got away and stayed away, and some of that is luck, but some of that is just the know-how of, I'm going to sit back and choose which one I go for. But what I took from that was, he had a plan. He's got a bit of a reputation for attacking from the gun, and we all just make jokes about it. Obviously he hasn't done that today, so he's had a plan where his plan is, right, I'm going to sit near the back, I'm going to wait for something dangerous to go, and then I'm going to go across to it. He's had a plan, he's stuck to it, he's done it, and it worked. So that's just made me think a bit more about when I've got a plan today, but I didn't manage to stick to it because I didn't stay in the bunch. Perhaps outside of my control, perhaps it is, but that's just really reiterated to me that, have a plan going into these things. Even if your plan is just to get around, how are you going to get around? Where are you going to position yourself? Where are you going to work hard? Where are you going to make up places? All those sorts of things I think I need to think a bit more about. So, looking behind me now, there's not many riders behind me, is there? If I'm honest, though, I'm not that concerned. I'm pretty much at my max heart rate, but I am just sort of thinking, well, I can see the numbers that I've done. Surely that's good enough to stay in the bunch. I think we were about 10 minutes in, I'd normalised 380, something like that. But that doesn't, in hindsight, that means absolutely nothing. If I'm not riding in an efficient manner, if I'm losing ground out of corners, I have to work harder, if I'm sitting off the wheel a bit like I'm here, well done, you've got high power on your screen. That doesn't mean anything. I need to be riding faster so that I am in the bunch and being more efficient. If anything, the bigger flex is, I got round in the bunch and I did less power than anybody else. That's the flex. That shows you're riding better. But at the time I was just thinking, well, surely it'll be okay. It'll ease up a little bit in a few minutes. So I think we'll come around now. This is lap number 4, is it, at the end of? And I was hoping that the small break has gone, but we're still in that sort of phase where people are trying to either bring it back or get across to it. Flurries of attacks are going, and it just keeps the pace of the bunch up. I didn't get 8 laps in before I got dropped, but my teammate Lee did, and he did a PB for 8 laps in this race today. He's done lots of racing. Just see there that rider just held his hand out to the right, just signalling that I want to come in that gap, which wasn't quite a bike length gap at the time he put his hand out. That's perfect. I love that. We are all there for fun. We're all there for enjoyment. Unfortunately, there was a crash later in this race, but things like that help prevent crashes. Him just saying, I'm coming in there, I'll just ease off a little tiny bit. That's all I need to do. He gets a gap in there, slots in. I'm not going to fight him for 25th position. It's loads better than trying to shoulder barge somebody in an amateur bike race. You see these things on the World Tour races and so on, and it's just not the reality. It shouldn't be the reality in these bunch races. I know we're all trying to win, but you don't win it when you're 10 minutes in. You win it when you're an hour in, or 45 minutes, the case today. Now, I've just had a bit of a recovery there. This is into a headwind section. I've sat in the bunch. I have thought, maybe I should have moved up a bit there. I've sat near the back. I've wanted to try and get my heart rate down a bit. You have to balance, it's all well and good saying, move up when it's easy, move up when it's easy. When it's easy, you need it to be easy so that you can recover, because when it's been hard, I've been flat out trying to hold on. But you see there, I've just dropped 2 or 3 positions just for nothing really, for no reason. But I'm happy with where I'm at in terms of on the outside of the corner again. I was liking that. I was a little bit put off by my front tyre. It dropped a bit of pressure. I could feel it was a little bit softer. So it just took the confidence away from me to really bank it in on the corners, but I don't know as if that actually cost me any time or not, more so just in my head. Coming out of the tailwind, I'm trying to get up to speed as fast as I can because there's not much draft. Even though you're going fast, there's about a 10 mile an hour wind, so I didn't want to drop off the back. And again, Max is still here. He's still just sort of dotting around the back. You can see that he's just keeping an eye on things and just moving up those positions. I think obviously he's stronger than I am, so when you see those gaps, he can just surge on a bit. But it's still costing him energy that he's not going to be able to spend other times in either this race or this day. Now there, I looked to my right to do a snot rocket to make sure nobody was there, run on the grass, and then obviously I've lost a few wheels there. Good job it was dry, so I didn't just sink in it and crash. So note to self to well, not to swear when I'm looking over my shoulder, and I've got a bit of a gap to close. So luckily it's a tailwind section, so I've surged on a bit, and I know that I'll get back on this corner. But yeah, that was a bit of a schoolboy error from myself, but I am but a schoolboy in this race. That rider there, so you just got to keep an eye out for riders who are just either peeling off or being lapped or whatever, so just got to keep your wits about you. Coming out of this corner was a bit harder than I thought I could do with getting on the wheel here. I think this was my undoing, because this is a headwind section. I'm now a few meters off the wheel. This is like, I've got no riders behind me. This is make or break. I need to get on that back of that bunch if I want to stay with the group, and I do get back on, but I think that surge there just adds towards my my demise, my undoing. I'm kicking on as much as I can, but I can't quite close the gap to that back rider. You get like nearly there and you think, okay, I'll sit up now, and again there another rider just being distant, so then I've got another gap to try and close. It's all my own doing. I should have sat further forward, but you can see how this has all stemmed from me blowing my nose and running on the grass a little bit. That little error has caused this, and now I've got another gap to try and close. So coming to this headwind section, I'm hoping the bunch is going to sit up, and I can see, look, there are 4 or 5 riders across, so it's obviously not full gas, but if anything that lures me into a false sense of security. Like, why am I doing, I'm only doing 200 on watts, I should be doing 300 and getting up and in the middle of that bunch, but I'm just thinking, well, I need to recover here because I'm absolutely like blowing, I need to go easy. All this is doing though is coming into this hairpin now, I'm at the back again, so I've got no wheels to drop. I need to be moving up here. I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but this is definitely one area where I think I should have, done something a bit different. But let me know what you think down below. Coming into the hairpin, I'm thinking, well, if I can just sit on the back of this group now, it's been that hard for that long, surely it's going to start easing up, especially if that brake's gone. Those riders are obviously the stronger riders, they're going to be up the road. We're going to be riding slightly slower if they're not constantly attacking, surely. So we'll see. But coming to this hairpin here, I'm not on the back of the bunch, am I? I'm not a good enough rider around the corner to close a gap. Sometimes people do this, drift off the back, close it in the corner, come out of the corner, carry a bit more speed, and I'm cornering okay there. I'm not losing any time, but I'm also not gaining any. So coming out of the corner, I've still got a gap to close, and I've still got my weight handicap of getting back up to speed, and that gap's 3 or 4 times the size now. So again, my own doing. If I'd have just surged on a bit more coming into that hairpin and may have gone up a couple of positions, I'd have been in that line there, or should have been, and saving a bit of energy and not having to chase back on. But again, here I'm feeling like I'm back on, so I'm not going to do too much because I'm there. I don't need to keep pushing hard, and it's always demoralising when you feel like you're riding hard and those in front of you are like freewheeling. Surely it can't be that easy. And you see here I do get that recovery, which is great, but doesn't last very long. Here again, right, hindsight, I should be moving up. It is all well and good to say move up. If you're not moving up, you're moving backwards, but I'm on the limit physically. I've worked really hard for like 15 minutes now. I think we still normalised about 360 by this point, so I was suffering, and there's the physical want of, don't make yourself hurt anymore, but there's also you can't think straight, can you, when you got lactic acid running through your head. You're just thinking, I'll just think about the next 10 seconds rather than think about the next 5 minutes, and looking back at the video is the easiest thing in the world to do. Coming through the start finish straight again, this is a headwind, so again I'm thinking, well, I'm on the back of the bunch, I'm getting a good draft, even though I'm doing a load of power, surely I'm not doing as much as those near the front, so I should be able to save some energy. The riders coming backwards here, I don't know if they're just moving back through the bunch or whether they're lapped riders. It's so hard to keep track of what's happening because I'm so far back. I've not even seen the front. I know what's happening. So here, when I get to near the front, I see a little gap here, and Lee's in this bunch, and this is my only attempt to try and help Lee. I thought, well, I don't want to let this break a 4 go because Lee's not in it, so I'll stitch it back together. I sort of went across to them, but this is me. I've blown my gasket there, just doing closing that little gap, trying to hold the group on. Well, I thought 2 things. If I get across the group, I'll just sit on. And then, I'll send my teammates behind or whatever. I've not got the gas to go with them there, so I don't know as if I've achieved anything. I start freewheeling now because I know there's riders behind me. I'm not closing that gap myself, I can't do it. But then, because I freewheeled, I've lost a couple of Ks an hour. So now as the bunch comes past me, I'm surging on to try and get back at the back of the bunch. And I'm just not increasing my speed fast enough. I'm probably not being, you know, in an aero enough position. I'm not kicking on hard enough, and I'm absolutely on the limit, and I'm just going backwards. It's hard to tell how many riders are behind you as well. I'm thinking, well, sure, if I get to the hairpin, then it'll all be okay. And I'm sort of glancing around. Ben there just gives me the helping hand. Sometimes that's all you need, just a little nudge to get back on the back of the bunch. But I thought I was there. I said to him, I'm all right, mate, don't worry about me, something like that. And then coming out this next hairpin is where I just don't get back on. And unfortunately, it's like a Zwift race, you off the back and you're off the back. But as I say, I'm not demoralised by this at all. I had a really good day. The event was a great format. The good thing is, when the race doesn't go to plan, you've got 2 more in the day you can, try a different strategy for, recover from in between, and try and do something different the next one. And this is essentially it. I pin it out of this corner, I'm giving it all I've got, and I don't get back on. But well done to you if you took part in this event. Let me know how you got on down below if you did. I really like the format. I hope that they do it again next year. I do hope that they do it in the summer rather than in autumn, but I know there's only so many weekends they can choose from, and they don't know how many entries they'll get and all of that, and it's a new format. So I appreciate the Haus race team giving it a go, testing new things and keeping racing interesting for us in Derbyshire. Hope you enjoyed the video.